Retanga Plays presents 5 things you can do with salt. Number 1. Tame wild beasts. Just 1 pinch of salt is enough to turn an angry mongrel into man's best friend. Results may vary. Number 2. Get bitches. Just 1 pinch of salt can turn this poor schlub into a bronze god. The ladies will adore you. Results may vary. Number 3. Improve intelligence. Little Jimmy having trouble in school? Well, a pinch of salt can turn that F into an A+. If your IQ's too low, then get high. Results may vary. Number 4. Win over your in-laws. Impress your wife's parents this year for Thanksgiving by adding a little extra seasoning that is guaranteed to turn their frowns upside down. This year's turkey is sure to be a hit. Results may vary. Number 5. Become right with God. Do you fear that the Almighty above looks down upon you with shame? Well, fear no longer, for unlike the devil's lettuce, salt has been ordained by the big man himself to be pure and holy. So put your mind at ease, for your entrance into the pearly gates is guaranteed. Results may vary. These were just 5 of the many ways that salt can improve your life. Order a bottle today for the low, low price of...
At long last, it's finally happened. Legislation passed to approve salt as a legal substance, which means I can now sell you pharmaceutical-grade salt over the counter. Daddy Frick don't gotta hide from the popo no more.
Poor people smoke it. It must be good.
We enter a new era of salt, the legally over-the-counter prescribed era. No more having to hide in shame, just pop a pill in front of your family. It's okay!
Uppers and downers, they're the logical next step for you.
What in God's name are you talking about, Frit? Well, I'm talking about Xbox and several other companies coming out and officially capitalizing on the legalization of pony salt. It's no longer a niche market. The salt has gone mainstream. It's no longer just a couple of bums under the bridge shooting up salt. Now we got the higher-ups in suits popping pills. And like hell am I going to allow Microsoft to come in and try to destroy the local businesses we built here. So I'm going to fight back.
You know what? Those guys, they ain't got no integrity.
The salt game has changed and nobody can keep up. The only one left here who can go toe-to-toe with someone like Microsoft in the salt game is me. So as you notice, Daddy Frit stepped up his game. Because not just the quality, but also the presentation of the product had to evolve. As you can tell, we are no longer in a crackhead den producing salt with contaminated tools. And I think it's time I give you a little taste. And the best part is it's all legal.
Won't somebody please think of the children?
So I woke up this morning realizing that Microsoft begun its first moves in the salt game by putting out a tweet that was so goddamn harmless and playful, yet for some reason the ponies lost their goddamn minds. Please check your candy this year. We found troll posts in ours, and they won't stop repeating the same thing over and over.
Tell me you did not just say that.
This basic ass tweet, not even throwing any heavy shade. One of the friendliest jabs you could ever throw at someone. Hell, I'm pretty sure a pillow could do more damage. This was what set the ponies off. Some chocolate with a screen cap saying PlayStation better. The ponies lost their mind over chocolate. I kid you not, chocolate.
Chocolate? Chocolate! Chocolate! Chocolate!
Because Sony earned their market position through decades of actual effort, and now the direct competition who failed to accomplish anything in 20 years is making the argument that they should be on top because their parent company has money. It's bad precedent for an industry.
Now, come on, clean it. I still see shit there.
My dog, it's goddamn chocolate! Chocolate! What in the hell are you talking about? It's a tweet making a reference to Halloween. What's with the passive-aggressive rant over which company's on top and the other being jealous? Are you that hurt? Goddamn, first thing Microsoft does with the legalization of salt is put it in chocolate. Why didn't I think of that? Now, I don't know what this pony's talking about. Sony earned their position in the market the same way every other corporation does, paying their way to the top, securing all those third-party publisher exclusives to ensure consumers only have one choice of where to play certain games is how we got here. Why are we supposed to celebrate that as an accomplishment and grand achievement for Sony and view it as evil and despicable when Microsoft does it? There is no right or wrong here. It's just free open market capitalism doing its thing. Microsoft is by no means crying that they should be at the top. Instead, they're making big moves to get to the top. And the ponies take that just as personal as Sony does, I guess.
PlayStation has better quality games. What did you release in the last few years? Halo Infinite? Yeah, hate to break it to you, but that game was a joke. Now we have God of War Ragnarok on the way, and you won't be able to compete.
Ooh, wow, gay!
That is pretty gay.
Jesus Christ, all they're doing is proving the tweet right, and it wasn't trying to prove anything. It was just a joke, a dad joke at best. Ponies are literally arguing with a meme. It was this tweet that made me realize Alex is not my competition.
Pathetic. This battle is beneath me.
No, my real competition is Microsoft. See, I have to be an asshole to get the salt out of them. Meanwhile, all Xbox has to do is put out a picture of chocolate, and any single thing that resembles a rational thought quickly leaves a PlayStation fanboy's body. A little salt in the chocolate goes a long ways, though, it would seem. Now, I'm tired of this notion that Sony makes AAA quality games that nobody else can compare to. Sony makes AAA games just about as good as all the other AAA third-party publishers. The only thing that stands out about them is that they're made by Sony Studios. But other than that, I couldn't tell you the difference between Sony's AAA games and something like Red Dead 2, or Jedi Fallen Order, or Guardians of the Galaxy, or Gears of War. They all look and play the goddamn same to me. I don't know what Sony's putting in their games to make the ponies' brains rot like this, but I can assure you, all platforms have these quality games. Sony shouldn't be treated special or any different. They're doing what everybody else does.
It's true, though. Xbox is trash at the moment. Release some exclusives for f***'s sake. You got all the money and can't get games out on time. You're absolutely garbage.
The last thing you want to say is, it's true though, in a meme predicting you doing that. Ponies just can't help themselves. You don't have to cover up a bear trap with leaves or grass. Just leave it out in the open, they'll still step on it. They're just willingly walking right into it. They are literally getting upset at Microsoft for putting out a meme about them that they agree with. But because it's the official Xbox Twitter account, they get so defensive. And sadly, Sony hasn't come to their aid yet. Come on, PlayStation, we're counting on you to make a comeback. Tweet something nasty about Xbox gamers next, come on. Don't leave us hanging, Jim.
Billion-dollar company crying.
I'm sorry, it's time somebody told the ponies, look, whenever you put the crying with tears emoji, it doesn't look like you're getting the last laugh. It looks like you're having a mental breakdown. And the outcome is you looking like the one who's actually butthurt. Also, it's $1 trillion company, not $1 billion company. Unless you meant to say Sony is the $1 billion company who's crying. If that's the case, then yeah, that's true. Whenever Sony cries, the ponies cry along with them, and the end result is they all go flooding Microsoft's timeline on Twitter, posting PlayStation better. God damn, the meme is spot on, actually. It's a piece of art. The more I analyze it, the more I see what Microsoft is saying. Who would have ever thought you can say so much with just chocolate?
Microsoft admitted Xbox is last place in order to get the Activision deal to go through. But now it's trolling to say PlayStation is better? If the gold medalist isn't better than the bronze, but rather it's trolling or a mere opinion, then your underdog story holds no weight.
Actually, allow me to correct you.
Underdog story! Underdog story! It's a meme! It's a picture of chocolate! with some tweets in it. Motherfuckers out here trying to create an entire philosophy out of a picture of this chocolate. I'm telling you, it really is a piece of art. We need to hang this up in a museum. This marks the era of when Microsoft purchased Activision. This piece solidified the cultural impact it had at the time. Just think about it. Just look at how much the ponies are pontificating over a goddamn piece of chocolate. You can't make this shit up.
Brother, you know your brand is dying when you have to resort to this kind of unprofessionalism for attention.
Oh, cry me a river. It's only unprofessional because the meme is at your expense. You're probably one of those many tweets saying PlayStation better that's mashed into that chocolate. It's no wonder you're taking it so goddamn personal. Personally, I don't see what's wrong with calling out a bunch of spam bots. I think it's completely professional if you were to point out that there's spam bots in your thread, especially if it's in a clever, memey way like this. This is a top-of-the-line backhanded comment wrapped in a thick chocolate layer of yumminess. And it's a very dark and veiny chocolate, too.
Xbox doesn't believe in fanboy console wars. Also Xbox.
But doesn't this tweet prove exactly that? That they don't believe in console fanboy wars by making fun of fanboys? I mean, yeah, sure, it may be at PlayStation fanboys' expense, but it's not in any sort of derogatory way. PlayStation fanboys just view everything through the lens of console wars. Wherever they go, they see a battlefield, dead soldiers on the ground, and the mighty PlayStation flag rising above. They live to fight another day. On Twitter. In real life, they wouldn't do any of this. At least I'm assuming they would all be way too embarrassed. This isn't Microsoft saying our console is better, our community is better, buy us instead of the competitor. It's just a tweet calling out spam bots who so happen to all be PlayStation fanboys. And the only ones console warring over it are you guys. You're flooding the comment section making console war arguments over a piece of chocolate. I cannot stress that enough.
What's funny about this post, though, is Microsoft is literally saying this to regulators.
No, I just knew babyface ass MPG would show up. No.
We used to beat people up for looking like that.
What do regulators have to do with chocolate, Frit? Well, don't worry, we'll get to that in just a second. Trust me, it's good. Because today I'm gonna do what Alex can't do. I'm giving you a double dose of salt.
Tanga's content is good. My content is kind of mid.
A $1 trillion company consolidating and damn near monopolizing the whole gaming industry, pretending to be the good guy. Taking and excluding games from the PlayStation audience, which is way bigger than the Xbox audience.
At least he got Microsoft's status as a $1 trillion company, right? And here we go again, calling Microsoft a monopoly. Yet even with the inclusion of Activision and Bethesda, they are still not even close to owning the majority of the industry. And indeed, the PlayStation audience is much larger than the Xbox audience. So again, how can you call this a monopoly? Sony, who has the larger install base, also has far more third-party exclusivity deals that lock away the Xbox demographic from dozens of games. For some reason, when Sony does it, they are the gods of gaming. When Microsoft dares to try it, they're an evil monopoly trying to destroy video games. PlayStation's approach is fair competition, but yet somehow Microsoft's isn't. Only one company is allowed to take and exclude. I mean, just look at this. All other companies started getting in on it. Pizza Hut, Ubisoft, Alienware, hell, even goddamn Snickers. Snickers got in on it. Even Snickers is in on the salt. They're gonna collaborate with Microsoft to sell Snickers with pony salt. That's the contract I was supposed to get. God damn you, Microsoft. You really are a monopoly. Maybe the ponies were right. And yes, as you could imagine, the ponies were indeed triggered by those corporations. But it doesn't stop there, because Microsoft's response to the CMA's comments on their acquisition of Activision were also released on the same day, creating even more salt. We're gonna have to dump it in the ocean. Yeah, it's gonna kill 90% of aquatic life, but what do you want me to do about it? That's the pony's fault. Unless you're all willing to snort it in one sitting.
I'm a crackhead.
So unlike most channels, I actually spent a good 2 hours reading the CMA's summary. It's an 8-page document, and to summarize it for you, the CMA seems to be a tad bit concerned that Microsoft's acquisition of Activision could indeed affect the console sales of the PlayStation, and could also play a bigger role in affecting the cloud streaming services competition. Basically, every single concern of theirs are the exact same ones Sony has, which shouldn't surprise anyone, considering PlayStation dominates in the UK, and they're quite possibly the only regulators that will actually listen to Sony and try to cut them some sort of deal here. Because what I've been able to gather from this Phase 1 document is that it doesn't seem the UK is going to deny the purchase of Activision. Hell, they're not even really against it. But in return, they want Microsoft to put a proposal on the table that they feel is fair to PlayStation and all other streaming services. And so now we are entering Phase 2. What's Phase 2? Well, basically this purchase is going to be even more scrutinized, because Microsoft already put a proposal on the table for PlayStation behind the scenes, one that PlayStation said no to. And so now the CMA is asking Microsoft to offer another undertaking, one they feel is sufficient enough, and so that's why we're at Phase 2, cause Microsoft didn't offer any more undertakings, nor should they. In this case, it seems the CMA is favoring the competitor PlayStation over the consumers. They don't handle things like Brazil, where they favor the consumers. Money talks a lot more in the UK, which is funny considering all the ponies called Brazil corrupt for approving of this. So it would indeed seem Jim Ryan flying his ass to Europe helped make some sort of difference in this acquisition, because the CMA is heavily considering Sony's concerns. You also have to notice that Sony is the only competitor flying to the UK to voice their concerns. Nobody else in the industry is doing this. It's a bad look for the CMA when Jim Ryan is privately flying his ass over to you and talking with you behind the scenes, whispering things in your ear. Because at Section 33, the CMA seems to believe that Microsoft having it exclusively on Game Pass will hurt consumers because they won't have an option of where else to subscribe and play it. Yet the CMA is not pointing out that Game Pass is the cheaper subscription service with more content on the cheaper hardware, thus making a franchise like Call of Duty more accessible for more consumers. Any single consumer benefit that you could think of, they did not jot down here. They believe that what Microsoft is doing with Activision could substantially reduce competition in cloud gaming services. Mind you, a market that PlayStation barely tried with. One that they're just starting to realize they actually need to work on. And even then, the majority of revenue is made off of sales. Cloud services do not factor into everything here. You can tell it's the one thing the CMA decided to hone in on because it's all they really got. It's blatantly obvious Jim Ryan's words had influence. We can't deny that. Hell, the CMA even references Sony Interactive Entertainment as a third-party view in their summary, as you can see here. Third-party views also covered the merged entity's ability to engage in partial foreclosure strategies. Sony Interactive Entertainment told the CMA that even if COD games remained available on PlayStation following the merger, the merged entity would still be able to engage in partial foreclosure by increasing the differentiation between the versions of COD available on Xbox and on PlayStation. According to Sony Interactive Entertainment, gamers may expect that COD on Xbox will include extra content and enhance interoperability with the console hardware. In addition to any benefits from memberships in Xbox Game Pass, Sony submitted that these factors are likely to influence gamers' choice of console. You've got to be shitting me, CMA. Did you seriously sit there and listen to Jim Ryan complain to you like this? And it convinced you? Even if COD stayed on PlayStation, Jim Ryan believes people would still move to Xbox. I shit you not. The CMA actually believes Jim Ryan when he says that. The console that sells COD the most isn't going to sell like crazy with COD staying on it? Are you kidding me? All Microsoft is doing is reversing what Sony has done to them. They're not going to lose COD. They're just going to lose the marketing rights to get all the exclusive content for COD. The only person this is going to hurt is Sony, not the consumers. My God, I don't know what drug Jim Ryan gave the CMA, but please, take some of my salt instead. I promise you, it's gonna clear up your clouded mind. I mean, just look at one of Jim Ryan's demands. He doesn't want the Xbox version of Call of Duty to be enhanced. He doesn't want it looking better than the PlayStation version. He doesn't want COD taking advantage of the Xbox's hardware to make the PlayStation not look as strong. You gotta be shitting me, Jim. You're seriously asking for too much! But this also makes me wonder now. Has Sony paid in the past to make the Xbox version of COD not look as good? Because that demand is pretty strange. How is one supposed to buy an intellectual property and not be allowed to make sure it looks and runs the best on their hardware? I cannot believe the CMA has considered any of this nonsense. Microsoft must be forced to keep console parity even if the IP is theirs. Jim Ryan also wants to make sure PlayStation still gets the exclusive COD content. It's outlandish, yet all documented. How does the CMA not see the absolute hypocrisy in all of Jim Ryan's statements? PlayStation grew by locking away COD content from Xbox gamers for years. Somebody already made a photo, and look at that. PlayStation was so proud they even made sure to put PlayStation exclusive on the goddamn boxes. Sony is acting like this is their purchase. They're the ones making demands out of Microsoft and hiding behind the CMA. They are demanding Microsoft purchase Activision Blizzard without a single benefit. Put down the crack, Jim. Are you insane? I doubt the CMA is going to be able to get Microsoft to give you everything you want. You should be grateful Phil Spencer ever showed up at your door with any sort of offer. All that time could be spent making another Killzone, another SOCOM, another Resistance, any sort of shooter. But instead, Sony's dropping lots of money to fly Jim Ryan out to the UK. Brilliant use of your resources. Alright, I'm gonna end it by reading Microsoft's response to all of this. The CMA's concerns are misplaced for the following reasons. Sony PlayStation has been the largest console platform for over 20 years with an installed base of over 150 million consoles, making it larger than Nintendo and more than double the size of Xbox. Sony engages in conduct today which is reflective of its market power in console gaming, including increasing prices of its consoles without fear of losing market share. The suggestion that the incumbent market leader with clear and enduring market power could be foreclosed by the third largest provider as a result of losing access to one title is not credible. There are more than 4,000 games available on PlayStation alone. The evidence shows that less than of PlayStation's monthly active users are playing Call of Duty. Even without all of those gamers, a highly improbable outcome from a hypothetical foreclosure strategy, the PlayStation gamer base would remain significantly larger than Xbox is today. You get the gist of what's going on here. Microsoft basically downplays their own success to make this purchase not seem like it's as threatening to competition as the regulators are worried about. And in my personal opinion, you didn't have to do this, Microsoft. Hell, they even went on to quote Tom Warren and use him as a talking point. Talking heads at Microsoft are literally parroting Twitter posts as counter arguments. That's a little concerning. I don't know, Microsoft. I would just take them to court. You'd win in a landslide. No need to downplay what you do in a way that even your haters wouldn't believe. Well, even with that being said, everything else is an absolute truth bomb. The CMA's concerns are indeed misplaced. Instead of being in Jim Ryan's wallet, they should be back in the hands of the consumers, who will benefit from an overpriced piece of shit like Call of Duty going to a cheap subscription service. It's time people stopped getting ripped off by Treyarch and Infinity Ward. Mitigate that damage, put that crappy franchise on a subscription service, and be done with it. I'm getting sick of hearing about it every single day. Yes, I get it. It is the biggest tech acquisition of all time. Of course, everybody's going to be talking about it, but it's gone to the point where grown-ass men are getting offended by chocolate. Hurry up. Just take Call of Duty already, Xbox. End my suffering. Oh, you know what? I don't have to suffer. I got my pharmaceutical grade salt. And just like that, I'm feeling better already. That first bottle of salt is on me. Or if you want to repay me, become a member of this channel. Get access to emojis that you can't get anywhere else. It's worth it, trust me. And with that being said, like, comment, share, subscribe if you so choose to. And until then, I'll see you next time for your next prescription.
Fritongo sucks ass.
Well, Cuphead and his pal Mugman, they like to roll the dice. By chance they came upon a devil's game, and gosh, they paid the price. Paid the price.